And what in heaven's name brought you to Casablanca?
My health. I came to Casablanca for the waters.
The waters? What waters? We're in the desert.
I was misinformed.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
It's the Al Travis Show, and we've got him, Senator Aric Putnam, on the line with us today. I need a little Sir Aric Putnam today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you.
I don't know how you could be doing well.
I'm not. I lied. I'm a politician, remember?
I think even if you go to the circus every day, you get tired of the circus, right? The clowns do the same thing. At some point, you get tired of the circus. And I think I'm to that point today. It's just this whole, I tried to read up on it. Let's see here. We didn't make the budget. Didn't make our deadline. Thought maybe we could on that Friday. Didn't happen. Don't worry. We'll get right at it. Then they put out, well, we're going to get our work done with the work groups by Wednesday. You got Wednesday, people. Well, that comes and goes. Then we're not going to get it done by Memorial Day. That's okay. Every day Memorial Day, we'll do work groups on the weekend. Some of us will, some won't. We don't know who is because you're not allowed to watch. Okay, fine. Then we get out. Now they're throwing out, we're going to have it done by Wednesday. If we don't do this by Wednesday, we're going to take over we'll just get this done without the work groups. Who are they BSing? You go ahead and try that. You go ahead and, if they don't get done by the end of the day at 7 o'clock today, you're going to tell me the management's going to come in and do it. And then what happens? You get people beating on the door when the governor's trying to tell them what they came up with. Nothing happens. It's a bunch of crap. It's like a really bad circus going on right now. Sorry, sir, from where I'm sitting.
That's fine. I mean, the big difference between a circus and the legislature is that the circus at most lasts like 2 hours. And also, the monkeys are trained. The monkeys are trained in a circus, and there's someone to clean up the crap. So those are the three big differences between the circus and the legislature. I'm sure there's more, but those are the big ones.
Send us your thoughts on how the circus is different than the government, and send them to Al at Al. That is funny. Don't you just, it's just hard to read. Now, to my today's cynicalness from Al comes from the next story in the Star Trip. After they go through all this, and evidently Johnson's not invited to the party anymore, the head Republican senator, he's not getting invited. We read all this stuff. Then it comes down to, oh, wait a minute. Whatever happened to Senator Mitchell? Remember Senator Mitchell? She's got herself in some trouble. She's got a lawsuit coming up, legal action coming up. The judge pushed that back because it was during session in January. She pushed it, which, by the way, I think they could have got it done before the Democrats came back to work. Let's not rehash that. Sorry, cheap shot on my way through. Then he puts it in. I didn't know when. And actually, some friends I were talking about said I knew it was this summer, but I don't know it. June 16th, right around the corner. And I'm reading the story, and I'm thinking to myself, could the Republicans be purposely slowing some gears down here and putting this into this weird flummox, hoping to get to June 16th when this young lady then has to go on trial and can't be there, and what do you know? We're all tied up. Is that possible, sir? You know these humans. Would they play that card and stall this out for 2 more weeks?
I like how you set the question up because, one, Mark Johnson has totally been invited to every single meeting.
It said in the paper. It said he hasn't been invited for 5 days. Now, I don't know if it's a formal invite. You get cards with a tissue paper.
No, you put on your big boy panties and show up for work. That's the issue there, right? But I think you are, and I love the guy, right? But that's crap. Not getting invited. Come on, man.
Okay.
That's not the case at all. And what you're pointing out, which is spot on, is that he's not going, one, to undermine the credibility of the process, but two, to slow it down. And I told you this too, the higher education bill, all of the things are signed. Everything's agreed to. Yeah. Everything's good. It's like 9 o'clock, 9:30 on like a Tuesday night. Even signing the spreadsheet, which is your documentation that you accept the deal and that we're all done and we're all good. The next morning at 9 a.m., Marion Aric writes back and says, I changed my mind. I'm not going to sign the conference committee report until there's a regents convention. Totally has nothing to do with the actual higher education budget. Already has a deal. Next day, takes the deal back, which in my world is not and I think in your world too.
I'm with you. I'm like, there's just too much weird crap.
A hand. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't unshake a hand, and that's what they did. And the only reason that makes any sense is to delay. That's the only.
But let's just play this down. Al's worth nightmare that even my team is going to do this stupid stuff. You can't. How long you been in? We haven't got it done. I don't want and I don't know how many friends I have actually working for the state government. I'll find out when they get their pink slips. I don't want to get them pink slips on Monday. For folks who want to know, Monday, we don't get this done. Pink slips go out to some, not all. Tell me if I'm wrong here. If your part of the budget has been done and signed off on, and there are a couple of things like I think the police version, they're done. Those folks won't, right? Because their budget's already taken care of. It's those that aren't finished yet. Am I correct on that?
Well, and I need to point out too that there are also two other committees, two budgets that were passed, and that was agriculture and veterans, because their chair is really, really good.
And his wife happens to be superintendent of schools of year. Yeah. Fair enough. But those are done. So my point is those people would not be affected, correct? I don't know if I'm correct on that. Am I?
I think that's the way it works. Yeah, I do think that's the way it is, because they've been signed too. They've been passed through legislature. The governor's already signed them. So I think that makes them cool. And there are also some different rules about who can be sort of furloughed and who can't be. I don't know those rules though. But it's still not good. It's
still perfectly thing. It may not be as end of all things on the first, but if you're one of those people that gets a slip, last thing you need to do is think, now what do I do next month, right? Because nothing seems to be. So if my team is playing this game to get to some place, let's play it out. If my team is playing to get to June 16th when Senator Mitchell has to go on trial, you got a couple of options. The judge has already delayed this twice because she's a senator and you can't stop, the work of the people. He could just push this thing back off and say, okay, we'll do it next January. Oh, that's right. You'll be back in session. We'll do it next June. I don't know that they know that they're going to win that. And if they get what they want, what do they get? A 33-33 tied Senate? What do you have now? Let's start over on all the budgets because we have a bigger voice?
Yes.
Get out.
No, I think that's the idea here, because it's so much of the stuff is about leverage, which pisses me off. I wish it was more about quality policy and actually helping people, but it's a lot of it's about leverage, right? And
I hate to agree with you, but that's where I'm at. I'm getting so teed off on this. It's like, can you just do what's right? Okay, go ahead. That's right.
Well, no, and that's the thing. It's like I'm on the taxes conference committee right now, which is a nightmare. It's a tremendous amount of work, and people aren't. I think there's a lot of negotiating out of ego and not out of product,
sure,
which is something that frustrates me generally. And in I was on 4 conference committees this year, which is absolutely awful. It's not awful, right? It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of time, but all of them, I had interactions. And again, I'm going to be a snob here because this is my whole point being here with the House. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican in the House, you share a culture. And in that culture, it's what's in it for me? Did I win? Yep. That was a consistent theme in a lot of my negotiations, even with agriculture and veterans, which are things that are not controversial. It was like, yeah, sure, you can have money for all the veterans' homes, but only if I get this. Well, no, that's not how this is supposed to work.
Is it because of the 2-year having to run every 2 years, every 18 months? You're literally right now, they're all looking at how do I set myself up for the next run? Is that the problem with the system, in that you have 4 years at least? If you take a tough vote, something that is going to make everybody happy, you're just going to find out in the long run, you look at the body of work, I'm better off. Is that it?
I think that's a big part of it. And I also think that it's a more ideological space, and there's just two different cultures in the two different groups. But it does get kind of frustrating when you're like, no, because this isn't about you. It's supposed to be about something bigger than that. And I'm not saying that the Senate is immune from that. It's just, in my experiences in conference committees over the last couple of weeks or years, it feels like years, but over the last couple of weeks, that's been a consistent theme. And I sit there kind of dumbfounded, like nothing's in it for you. They should be for you. So,
but we train them. I'm going to use Representative Fatah, or is it Senator Fatah? Senator Fatah, right? Mm-hmm. And again, the guy does what he thinks is right for his people, and his people vote him in. So I this is not a rip on him at all. Right. But he was willing to go to the mat for the Uber thing last time, right? Because he realized he's had that kind of power. I call it the Fatah move. I'm just made that up. But he figured it out. I'm this guy. I can literally get this if I'm willing to stand for my people, and he did. Again, good for him. But now, with the House at 67-67 and the Senate still with that one seat, I think everybody's seen the Fatah move. And they go, I could do the Fatah move. I've got as much power as Fatah. So now we got the new Fatah move being played by 67 on both sides, because who's going to fold? I think we've just got to the end of the book. At some point we're going to get here, and someone could say, I can do all of this for my people, to heck with all the rest of you. And I think that's where we're at. And again, he's on that side that wants the Medicare for all thing here in Minnesota. If he showed us anything, he'll go to the mat. I believe he will. I mean, it's his style, if you will, unless he gets something big. How do we get around that? I think we've gone to the end of the game. The game says when you get to a point, you own it all.
You're 100% right on that. And I love Omar. Like, he's my pal as a human, but I've told him before, I don't like the move. I think the
And
move
is it Fateh or Fatah? I always say it wrong.
It's both. It's both.
Okay.
It goes either way. He doesn't care. I've
Okay,
had conversations with him before.
Somebody corrected me the other day,
doesn't
so I
really
always say it opposite of what I think because I always think I'm wrong. But anyway, I respect to the guy. He's doing his thing, but that move is his now, and I think others are onto it.
They are, and that move has been played over the past session. It has,
Yeah.
and it's frustrating to me. But here's the thing that bothers me is that when you have an alternative perspective, you get called a sellout, right? So if I say no, I don't think that that's the right way to accomplish this goal, then suddenly I'm a sellout who doesn't believe in the values of my party or protect the people, which I think is obnoxious. Look, I'm not a hero. I'm not a champion. I'm a bureaucrat. I'm your mailman, not your savior. And I don't think people realize that. Like when you're working in government, your job is compromise. Your job is solving problems. It's not delivering the truth.
Football. Yeah.
It's just a different perspective.
Yeah. I don't know if you're a football guy. This is like the tush push. You can't stop it. We're going to have to change the rules somehow. I'm just worried that that's where we're at, and I don't know how this ends, and I'm putting on my guys, if they're playing this game out to make it even tighter, 33-33, if that's the game, shame. Let's just get this done. Anyway, hate to ruin people's thoughts today. That's where I went. I went when I read the Mitchell story. Now, I'd like to read the Mitchell, talked about the Mitchell thing on the other side. Can we do that?
Sure. Absolutely.
We'll do right after this. It's Senator Aric Putnam on the Al Travis Show.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is a guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
Easily offended? The Al Travis Show is not for you. The Al Travis Show. All sides are welcome.
Love having Senator Aric Putnam on the program with us. I'm going to alienate some more of my fine friends from my side with the next thing I want to talk about. Senator Mitchell and her trial is supposed to be June 16th now. Will they get pushed back if the Senate, if we don't get done with our work? Who knows what's going on? But the story today was her lawyers came out and asked that the judge dismiss the second felony charge, which was carrying burglar tools. When they put it on, Senator, and they put it on, I don't know, 6 months after. I mean, it wasn't like we got it for burglary and burglary tools. They got it for burglary or attempted burglary. And then later when they got teed off, they threw in this, and with the right tools. Can we stop hogpiling? This is what he called his kid. It's kind of like when you murder somebody, but then you get the added charge because it's also a hate crime. I find in my life, most killing is hate. I don't need another, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing. Oh, you were burglaring and you had tools? Well, you'd be a bad burglar if you didn't bring the tools. So let's get, you're laughing at me. Am I wrong here? It's like, it obviously is a jump. They say in the paper that maybe that gives the jury that comes in the ability to say, all right, she wasn't burgling, but she did have burglar tools, so we'll get her on that. You find a woman in the basement of someone's house, having taken the stuff with the Catwoman suit on, and you can't get her convicted? Shame on you anyway. And if you're going for, but she had a crowbar, I have a crowbar in my car. I carry it around in my truck. Stop. Am I wrong?
I got to say that if were I to listen to this on the radio, I might be making some assumptions about your criminal history.
Yes, I have crowbars in the car. Okay.
There's one, you got crowbars in the car. You're talking about murders. So, like, in all the murders you've committed, there's
well,
been hate involved.
You know what I meant. Okay, I don't know that. If you killed somebody with intent, well,
no.
Okay.
I think you're totally right. And that, here's the thing: is I think that this happens in the justice system all the time. I don't think it's specific to Nicole. I think that they do. Prosecutors have an incentive to try and get a conviction. So they're going to throw everything they can at it. So that doesn't make, on this front, though, one thing that I think we're on opposite sides on this. Maybe we traded teams today.
Uh-oh.
But one of the things that I tried to do this session is I tried to change the law that lets her postpone the trial.
You did?
I did.
Good for you.
This is a little bit, one thing that makes me so angry about people in my job. It's I got pulled over for a speeding ticket. Do you know who I am? No, I don't, and I don't care. That really makes me mad when we use our privileges to get out of difficulty. I know of a House rep who got bumped for a haircut and played that card with the person who was cutting his hair. It's like, no, my appointment is now, and I'm really important. I've got things to do. Don't you know who I am? Like, no, and I don't care. So what happens, I tried to change the law, and the lawyers in my caucus and in the other caucus were bothered by it because if you're an attorney and you have to appear in court to do attorney stuff, you're allowed to vote remotely. And it was hard for us to find a way to change the law to say, no, it's not if you're an attorney, if you're working there. It's if you got nabbed. That's the issue. And we weren't able to sort that.
Oh, I see. Because the law itself at one time made a little sense. And what it was is the police, if they were against whatever you're going to vote for, could be waiting around for you and your horse and buggy to show up, postpone you as they were putting and everything would come to a grinding halt. Mm-hmm. We're beyond that. I think the idea that I think she's gotten very lucky that if it was Al in the basement and got picked up, I don't think I'm a year and a half later. I don't think I've gotten to go to work for the next 2 years and done my thing. They would have figured it out. So that's where it bothers me. So if you actually try to do that, good for you. I mean, you are a good Republican. Do they tell you that much? You're a good Republican. I like that.
I am so not.
You agree with me on this show all the time. You must be.
No, I think this actually frustrates me a little bit because our terms for political identities are completely vacuous right now. They don't mean anything. It just means one of you people. That's all it means. That's a progressive, moderate, conservative. It used to mean something, and I still live in the world of a legitimate progressive from back in the day. And that means that I don't care as much about party, because if you are truly progressive and you care about democracy, you don't care about party.
See, I love that about you. I seriously do. And you're absolutely right. And you do that for a living as a professor up there. Things have gotten so out of whack. I think if the founding fathers, I presume it took us a while to get to the Democrats, Republicans. If you went back 150 years, I think people would look at it and say, what in God's green earth? This makes no sense. It's not how we set it up.
And they wouldn't recognize, it still frustrates me a little bit whenever you talk to, again, people sort of sometimes with your political identification. And they're like, oh, Republicans are the party of Lincoln. Lincoln would not recognize you. Like, and no, Thomas Jefferson wouldn't recognize a Democrat. Like, things change. I don't recognize Democrats from 40 years ago. Strom Thurmond was a Democrat. Like,
Oh, that's funny.
no, these things change. And they're not
they do.
They're not consistent. We got to let them go.
All right, I appreciate that. I appreciate you always being honest with us. Thanks for letting me take some frustration out today. If, quote unquote, my side is doing this game plan, I will be calling out for the next 20 days. I will not like it. I will not like it like Sam and eggs and ham. I am not. I will not.
Now I'm going to start listening to the show to hold you accountable for that. Like, that's the thing that's going to get me to listen to your show.
That kind of hurt, Putnam. It really did. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate you being here, my friend.
Take
Aric
care.
Putnam on the Al Travis
Bye.
Show.